Hi, friends. Welcome to Anchor Moments Weight Loss Book Club. We are almost done with Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. Today, we're going to be discussing chapter 19, and there's only 20 chapters. So, we're going to be discussing chapter 19, which is it's the first chapter after the final feast. Enjoying life free from emotional eating. And I'm really excited today because I also am bringing on a special guest. My special guest, Robin Lockwood, she really gets this. She gets this even more, a lot more than I do, even. I've been an emotional eater my entire life. And this has been an extremely challenging book for me. And I'm always very open and honest with you, and I'm giving you my real thoughts every week. And I can tell you, this book has helped me quite a bit. There are a lot of things that I've taken away from this book that are making a difference in my life right now. But I'm not totally there yet. I am not totally there yet. And there are different pieces that I think, I'm not quite sure about this or that. And then Robin Lockwood will type something in the comments about the particular chapter, and I'll go, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. And she's helped to give me some clarity because Robin, she read Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking um, almost, I think about 20 years ago. And she'd been a smoker for 27 years. And she really enjoyed smoking. She was a heavy smoker for 27 years. But when she read Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking, she did it. Did it. She has not smoked even one cigarette for the past 20 years because of Alan Carr's Easy Way. And so she has also read and has been, with us each week for Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. And if this is your first time showing up and seeing an Anchor Moments video from our weight loss book club, do know that I do these live. And so I'm live right now. So if you put some comments, which I see some of my buddies having a couple of comments right now in typing some comments, we will be sharing your comments because we want to know your thoughts about Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. And if you've had any wins this week, we love celebrating each other's wins too. So be sure to put down any wins that you've had and any thoughts you've had about Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Emotional Eating. And then once I bring Robin on and Robin shares because I'm really interested in her thoughts now between the emotional eating book by Alan Carr and his Stop Smoking book. To see the similarities and differences and how it's working in her life right now. And I will tell you that Robin and I both also take GLP-1s. I've been taking Mounjaro for 57 weeks now. I have type 2 diabetes, and Mounjaro has been very helpful. My blood sugar is perfect now. I'm in the normal blood sugar range, which is amazing. My A1C is 5.6, so I'm super excited about that. And I've lost 40 pounds over the last 57 weeks. So that's been exciting for me too, to finally, where you feel like you're never going to lose weight ever again, and to get off a bunch of weight. I still have a bunch left to lose though, and I'm really hoping that that I will stop being an emotional eater, and that I'll be able to get rid of that part of my life. So I'm going to be bringing on Robin here in just a minute. I am going to tell you that I have not done my final feast yet. In chapter 18, Alan Carr has on one of his pages there, he lists a few things that you really need to have ready. And then when you do your final feast, it's over. Then you are free, free, and no longer an emotional eater. So, like, wow. But I know for me, with each piece, he has a different chapter that you could go back and read if you're having a problem with this part or with that part. Then reread this other chapter. Jeff and I have Alan Carr's book on Audible as well as paperback. And we're going to be going on a trip soon, and we're going to listen to his book from beginning to end. So I hear it all the way through and try to do that within a couple days time. So that way it's all really fresh, all of the pieces before I try to do the final feast. So that way it really works. So we will see about that. All right. I think that is most of what my thoughts before I bring you on. Bring you to Robin. Chapter 19, Enjoying Life Free from Emotional Eating. This is the chapter after you've done your final feast. And Alan Carr does say that the first few days, you're still going to hear that little monster telling you that you want to eat junk food or whatever. And the little monster is still going to give you cravings for a few days. But he mentions that you need to enjoy feeling the little monster die and go, okay, I'm having those, but it's okay because I'm winning and that little monster is going to die. And in a few days, when he is dead, because I don't feed him junk food anymore, the cravings will stop and they won't control me anymore. And I'll be able to be free to just enjoy healthy food and do other things with my life. So if I'm feeling stress or I can call a friend, I can go for a walk, I can read a book, I can watch a chick flick and laugh a lot. But there are other things I can do versus relying on food that's high in sugar and fat or high in salt and salt and fat, your chips and those kinds of things. So anyway, that's pretty much what he says a lot through chapter 19 in different ways, that whenever you feel a craving, you should think, yippee, I'm free because I'm not going to feed that little monster. I'm done. And then before you know it, you'll take pleasure in starving that little monster. And then that little monster will be gone and not bother you ever again. So anyway, now, without any further ado, let me introduce you to our good friend, Robin, who's been our friend in the chat for, gosh, almost a full year now. It's been so fun having Robin. And let me unmute her and bring her on stage. Hey! Hey, Robin!
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Here I is.
That's right. Well, Robin, tell us a little bit about what life was like for you as a smoker before you ran across Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking.
Wow. That's a long time ago. Everything was done with a cigarette. So waking up, had to have my coffee and my cigarette. Phone rings, light up. Stress, gotta have a cigarette. It's gonna calm me down. Let's see, what else? If you're going out and you're having fun and you're having cocktails, gotta have cigarettes. Run to the store, get in the car, drive, gotta have a cigarette. Springtime rolls around, you're cleaning, gotta reward yourself, have a cigarette. You did great. You got fall, you're raking leaves. Break time, tired, have a reward, have a cigarette. So everything, was done with smoking. And then when you couldn't smoke, you were constantly thinking, where am I going to go to have a cigarette? Just like where am I going to go to eat? The constant, let's go to a movie. Well, if we go to a movie, how long does that take? That's about an hour and a half, 2 hours without a cigarette. When it came time for people, you can't smoke here anymore. Where am I going to go sneak one? So, everything, it was dealt with cigarettes. And it got to be when you would go to the doctor and you would walk into the room, you were thinking, is it in my clothes? Is it in my hair? I don't want to go there because they're going to smell it on me. They're going to judge me. When you would walk into a room somewhere, you would smell like a walking ashtray. You date somebody who doesn't smoke, that's an interference. I did date somebody for 2 years who didn't smoke, and he had a really nice Trans Am. I never smoked in the Trans Am, even though he said I could. So I would have to find ways around it. I would sneak into the bathroom and I'd brush my teeth after I'd smoke a cigarette, spray myself down really quick with perfume. But, that didn't hide it. So, but that was pretty much my life for a long time. Or if you went outside, people would look at you like, what do you're an animal standing there with a whole bunch of people in a little corner having cigarettes. That's nasty. That's gross. Why don't you just quit? You're killing yourself. Look what you're doing to your family. That kind of thing. So yeah, that was my life as a smoker. So
Wow. And it's amazing how many similarities
yeah,
to smoking that emotional eaters have,
right.
because it's the same kind of thing, I'm going on a trip or I'm going, what am I going to eat? What, if we're not going to be able to get a meal, then what kind of snacks can I have just in case? Always
Yep.
carrying things like a little bit of nuts and dried fruit or something, like a little bit of trail mix or something in my purse, just in case I get hungry. Or,
Yep.
just heaven forbid you're hungry, like that's like a horrible thing. Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
There
lot of
there
similarities.
is a lot of similarities. I've never been a smoker,
Yep.
but listening to you share about how you thought about cigarette, how you started your day, and how you're thinking about your next cigarette, and the time,
Yep.
and remember when on airplanes when they stopped, where you couldn't smoke on airplanes anymore, so you'd have to think, this flight's going to be so
Yep.
many hours,
I have
before
a
you can have
picture
a
of
cigarette
me
again.
actually. I have a picture of me actually in an airplane with a cigarette, which
Wow.
is really kind of nostalgic now. Weird,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
yeah.
remember, I'm 58, and so I remember flying with my parents, and my parents were both
Yep.
smokers, and we would have to sit on the smoking side of the airplane. But it
Yep.
was weird because the non-smoking side still had smoke. The smoke didn't,
That
disappear
that never
or go
made
out the
sense to
window
me.
or whatever. Yeah.
That never.
Yeah.
I remember going into Perkins and there was one side open that was not smoked,
Mhm.
one side open that was non-smoked. And the smoke's going to travel. You're still going to breathe it,
Right.
even at the bars and stuff too. It was crazy. Well, and then they quit that eventually, so that was a godsend actually when they did that. But they did lose a lot of business doing it too. So
Mhm.
it's it's a hard one. It's a hard habit. I think they've even categorized it as harder than the heroin addiction, because when you take heroin, you inject it, you get an instant high. It lasts for hours. when you smoke a cigarette, you get your instant high gratification, but the minute you put it out, the nicotine starts to leave your system. And so after about a half an hour to an hour, you're going, bing, I want a cigarette. So you're lighting another one up. So you're having more of a habit because you constantly have to feed the monster.
Feeding that
See
little
how
monster. Yeah.
that's how it works. That's how it works. It keeps saying nicotine. I need a cigarette. I have a craving. Now, cravings for me were like, say you ate something really salty and you want something to drink. You are so thirsty, but can't have it. Now you got to fight that craving. So people that smoke and think I want to quit, but I don't want to have to deal with this constant monster after me because this craving is so intense. That's what it feels like. So people think, if I do this, am I always going to be fighting this for the rest of my life? I mean, those were thoughts that went through my head. So
Yeah.
it was hard.
Yeah. Real quick, Mindy's noticing too, there's a little bit of a sound in the background that's kind of funny. Are you using that one mic? Or is
It
there a
could be
fan
my
blowing
fan.
at it?
You know what? I bet it's my fan. I can shut it up. It's my phone, but because my phone is kind of up, it's the fan's probably going
The
back
sun
and forth.
blowing it. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, if you
Okay.
could go without, because it is
Let me,
affecting your sound quality.
let's see if it is.
Thanks, Mindy.
How's that?
Oh,
Can you
that's
hear
better.
me now?
Yeah,
Is it
that's a
better
lot
now?
better.
I don't
Yeah,
know why, but my nose is running. So, okay. Now it's really quiet in here.
that's a lot better. That's a lot better.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Robin. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mindy, for telling us.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
what led you to Alan Carr's easy
Oh
way
no.
to quit smoking?
Actually, I was in a quit smoking site, kind of like your video, or not your video, your website, your online thing, whatever you call this.
Oh, yeah, my YouTube channel.
um, yeah, back then it was I went through the Heart and Lung Association uh to try and quit. I had tried to quit several times. It wasn't just one time that I could quit. In my 20s and my 30s and my 40s.
Mhm.
So when I got to my 40th birthday, I was bound and determined this was going to be it for me. Um, and I had been on this website called what was that called? Something about quit smoking. I can't remember the name of it now. But a bunch of us would go on there and we would tell our stories, and if somebody was having a hard time, because if you quit and you wake up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, who are you going to talk to? You're not going to call the Heart and Lung Association or the online nurse back then and say,
Mhm.
I want a cigarette. So it was nice to go on the computer and go into this quit smoking site and then be able to, type in with people and talk to them. And I actually met a girl who was an airline hostess for United. And we
Mhm.
got to be really good friends. And she would be on, and, we would go back and forth about our day and stuff. And we were kind of like, who's in the hallway walking? Who's the angels tonight? And somebody had mentioned this Alan Carr book. And there was another one that they were really telling about that was good, which was Out of the Ashes. And so it was like you just kind of kept hearing, yeah, you should read this book. And so I finally decided, what the heck? I'm going to buy this book. And why I don't never read self-help books ever. So if you would have told me that years ago that this book would have saved my life, would have changed, would have got me to quit, I'd have laughed at you and said, yeah, right. Smoke another one. That was my thing.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I got the book, and I remember I started to read it. And it was weird to me at first because it kind of kept repeating itself. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, is this because he's from England? And, but subliminally, this is how he works. It says he helped movie stars like, Alan Baldwin back then. He helped Ellen DeGeneres quit. He,
Oh,
several,
wow, I didn't know that.
several famous people.
Mm-hmm.
And I delved in a little bit more because I wanted to learn what's this guy about. And he did in England seminars with one-on-one with people. And so he would sit in these rooms with them while they smoked, and he would breathe in all this secondhand smoke. But
Mm.
he wanted to help as many people as he could because he got it. And so I don't know why my nose is running. he he said that in order for you to understand why you're doing what you're doing, you have to unveil what you have had in your brainwash or your brainwashing techniques that they did to you. And
Right.
you had to understand the habit, and then realize you aren't in this trap that you think you are. Okay. So he wanted he wanted you to continue to smoke through the book. And by the time you got to this last chapter, which a lot of people didn't want to read the last chapter, they were afraid because that's it, you're going to be done. And he guarantees, you will snuff out your last cigarette and you will never want to smoke again because you have no reason to smoke again once you read through the book. So after I read that, plus this man smoked, I think it was over
Yeah,
100
because Alan
cigarettes
Carr
a
was a
day.
heavy smoker. He was a heavy
Yeah.
smoker
Yes.
before he
Yeah.
used the easy way on himself,
Yeah.
and then
He died of lung
experienced
cancer.
did he
He
really? That's how
actually
he died?
died of lung. I think he
Oh,
lived to be in his 90s or 80s. I can't remember. But he helped a lot of people. That was his mission. But yeah, he would say he would have a cigarette in the ashtray going, and he'd be lighting up another one. And he was just a chain
a
smoker, and
chain smoker, yeah.
he couldn't quit until he finally figured it out. Then the government wanted to shut him down because they were like, you're going to take away our business because you're going to tell what we're doing to people, and they're making us money. And so they were trying to get rid of him. And
Wow.
that's why he started, I think, doing the books and stuff. And so the book is condensed from these clinics into a book for you to read. That's why when you read it, it's kind of like you want to read the whole thing. He kept it small,
Mhm.
not very many pages. I think 153 pages or something, or 253. No pictures, because if you shame somebody, the shame makes you want to smoke more, because
Mm.
that's how they brainwashed you into thinking. And I'm sure it's the same with eating.
It's the same with
Um,
eating too. Yep.
yeah, it's kind of like if they when they put the little label on the side of the cigarette pack that says this is going to cause lung cancer, da 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 da. You don't think I know this already? So I'm buying this so you can tell me, and just make this worse for me. So, make me feel more guilty and put me more in the back of the corner there. Or you hear your family saying, you really should quit, Robin. Don't you want to be alive for your daughter, for your granddaughter, da 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 da,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, I do want to, but I can't. It's not my time yet. Every excuse, but I love to smoke. A plane could drop on us tomorrow. Um, you know, you just thought of everything. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, the book just really, really opens your eyes to everything that you're doing, why you're doing it, and
Mhm.
then it makes sense. And then you start to visualize, and this is where it really comes into play. You have to start looking at it the way that it really is. So when I would look at the cigarettes, now in the Reader's Digest, they told you to take an ashtray and
Okay.
dump it into a bucket of water and put this next to your bed. Then you smell it every morning when you wake up. And it's gross looking, but this is what you're putting into your body. So if
Yeah.
you can imagine when you're eating this donut, look at it as a clump of grease and a bunch of sugary fat. This is
Mhm.
what you're going to put in your body. So you have to subliminally think of this. Okay, do I really want to do that? You know,
Yeah.
do I want to take, okay, when I would look at ashtrays, sometimes somebody would put a butt out that had some inch on it, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
ooh, I could smoke that. Now when I look at them like they're syringes, and it's
Oh.
like, and they have the poison in them. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, I don't want to put that in my body. I'm smarter than that. Why do I want to take my money and give it to somebody who's trying to kill me?
Yeah.
And that was the other thinking. So that's why I rambled
Wow.
on and on.
No, that's wonderful. And so when you finished and you read that last chapter,
Yep,
you're gonna
yep,
smoke your last cigarette and put it out.
yep. I actually
Do you
did.
remember that
I
day?
had a party. I had I
Mhm.
had a 40th party, and we partied and hooped it up so much the next day. I was so sick. And I remember sending my last pack of cigarettes with a friend. I said, "Here, take them. I'm done. I don't ever want to see cigarettes again." And it was the end of them. I was done.
And you've never
So,
smoked another cigarette since?
no, nope.
Wow.
That was the
Wow.
end of
No,
that.
and did you
And
say,
I didn't.
20
I,
years ago?
yeah, I quit July 11th, 2004. And so this July will be coming up on 21, I believe, years. Which
Wow.
it amazes me too, because I never, out of my friends used to always say, out of all the friends or out of the people that we know that smoke, you would have been the last one that we'd ever think would quit. So it was just something I wanted to do. I had to keep the tunnel vision. That's the
Mhm.
other thing. This is your quit only, nobody else's. So if you quit, and Jeff was a junkie eater, or what did they call it? Emotional eater.
Emotional eater.
Um, and hypothetically say that you were doing really good on it, but now he slips and has that donut,
Mhm.
that can't influence you because it's not your quit, that's his quit. So with a smoker, it's the same thing. And of course, like I told you, I was in a band when I quit, and everybody around me was drinking, everybody was smoking and having fun and partying. And here sits me. And I was trying to sing, which it's not easy to sing with secondhand smoke. Um,
Yeah.
so I would leave and I would go in the house, because we did this in our garage. And I would sit on the couch. And I remember I was 6 months into my quit, and I was bawling my eyeballs out on the couch. And a friend came in and said, "I don't know how you're doing it." And I said, "I have to quit though, because I want to." And then I had my ex-husband at the time. He wanted me to smoke. He did not want me to quit. So he would make it real hard for me. And like I said, we had a fireplace,
Okay.
and an indoor fireplace, real one. And so we would like used to sit in front of the fireplace and we would have a cigarette and we'd blow the smoke up the chimney. And then if we didn't finish the cigarette, we'd snuff it out and just put it inside there. And he would just line them up in there for me, just in case I broke down and had to have one. He would leave cigarettes, because he smoked menthol. So he had his in the freezer. He'd always make sure there was cigarettes in there in the pack. He wouldn't put the butts that he smoked in there. And then he'd leave them. I would clean my Jeep up really good and stuff. And he would go in and start smoking away in there. Didn't care. He was just trying everything he could to get me to smoke again. And so in my mind, I just flipped it around and just said no, because if he gets me to smoke again, he's going to win, and that's not happening. Because I'm stubborn and I'm an Aries, and it's like, no, you don't tell me I can't do this or can't do that. It's like, here, hold my drink, So yeah, no. So that's stuck with me all the way, and I still to this day. But I don't have a craving anymore. But back then I did. So yeah. And I do remember one time going, I think I was in about 7th or 8th month into my quit. And I remember I was with my mom at Sam's Club and we had one of those big pieces of pizza. And we ate it. And then we started to walk around and I remember getting this craving. And I said to her, I go, this is really odd. And she's like, what? And I said, I want a cigarette really bad. And I don't know why. And she's like, well, that's really odd. Yeah, because you've been quit for a while. Now, I don't know. But when you stop smoking, the first 24 hours, the nicotine's gone. It's no longer in your system.
Oh, wow.
And so the only thing in it is this mind that wants it. So that's the monster thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been a proven fact that nicotine will not stay in your system. That's why it's a habit, because you got to keep feeding it.
You keep putting it, and feeding that little monster to keep it going.
Yeah. So when you smoke, it's like it turns it into a liquid form. Then it goes down your throat, and that goes into your bloodstream. And now, if you were to inject this, you would die instantly. And so, by little amounts, you're putting this into your system like that. And so I remember there was a drinking fountain at this store. So I told my mom, I'm going to go get a drink. And I just guzzled the water. I couldn't believe it. And the craving went away. So it was like, okay, now I have to relearn what my body wants. So what I thought was a craving for nicotine was a craving for water. I was thirsty. So every time I would be thirsty, I would feed it nicotine. Every time I was hungry, I would feed it nicotine. And so this is where, after you quit smoking, you start to gain weight, because you have to learn, what is my body wanting here? I was guzzling, I think it was a half a gallon of orange juice a day. And my friend comes over and she's like, how much of this orange juice are you drinking, Robin? And I'm like, well, it's good for you. And they say that when you quit smoking, your body wants vitamin C. And so I'm just gulp, 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 And so she's like, no, you're only supposed to have like 1/4 of a cup. You know how much sugar is in here?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to relearn all of this. So yeah. So that's part of the weight gain too for me. But I'd rather gain this weight and be able to lose this weight rather than gain something like cancer or something.
Lung cancer or something. Yeah.
That you can't lose. So, well, you can possibly, but
But it's
hard.
I mean. Yeah.
Very
it's hard.
So yeah, that's kind of my story too. So there's the monsters and the head thinking, and yeah. So once you figure out, okay, this is not in my system, so it's something I'm thinking about. Now you got to get this mind to think right. And that's where the food thing too, you got to start thinking, that I don't
Yeah.
need that. What I really want is an apple or something. I want something sweet, but it's not the donut. It's what's my body gonna need, you know? Same thing with
Right.
me.
And if you're giving it
Yeah,
an apple, you're giving it nutrition too, because there's all the
exactly.
vitamins and stuff in there
Like for
and
me too, when I would get thirsty, I couldn't drink pop or fruit juice or something. I had to have water to satisfy me. It that was the only thing that would quench it. So, and I didn't reach for candy bars. In fact, I would eat half the candy bar and give it to my ex, well, my husband at the time.
okay.
So I knew that the emotional eating wasn't my addiction. That's not my choice for what I wanted. It was, it was the nicotine. But I think later on through the life, like they say, sometimes you will take one habit and change it for another habit.
Mhm.
So it's possible, because I do like sweets. There's no question about it. Um, but it's not I'm not gonna eat the whole cake, or I'm not gonna eat a dozen donuts. I would eat maybe a half of one or something, but they seriously would make me not feel good after I'd eat them and stuff. So, and that was another thing I learned about addiction, because I had gone through Hazelden with a ex. I had two of them. So there was a family class counseling thing I took, and they said, now, I don't know if this is real or not, or true,
Okay.
but I was told that your first experience with something of a substance or whatever it is will determine if you are going to be addicted or not. So like if you drink, say when you're 12,
Okay.
and you had a great time with it, you got up the next morning or whatever, didn't feel sick, that's a good experience, and that's going to make you want it again. And so the same thing, I suppose, with food or, cigarettes. Um, it's the feel good part. My mom never forced me to eat things or finish your plate, or I never ate fast. So
Mhm.
some of the things in the book, I was like, no, I didn't do that. Um, so I think because of certain things like that, I didn't become an emotional eater because it wasn't in our family. Um,
Mhm.
Alcoholism was in our family, but my first experience with that stuff was not good. I had horrible hangover and everything, but some people don't. And then when they don't, that's when it becomes, you become the addict at 12 years old because you had a good experience with it and your brain connects that. This is how it was explained to us, why some people can drink and walk away from it and not become an alcoholic and others can't, which kind of
Hmm.
made sense to me. So whether it's true or
Okay.
not, I don't know, but it did make sense at the time.
I don't know. I
So
don't think I'll never have to worry about alcoholism for me, only
yeah,
because
no.
of no, because of the calories. So I
Oh
would,
yeah,
I would,
empty.
I would drink. So it's not like I never drink, but I don't
Oh
drink
yeah,
very often, and I don't drink a whole bunch because I rather eat my calories than drink my calories. So I've always
yeah,
been, hyper
yeah,
alert of how many calories are in that alcohol, and and to have one or two, okay, but you have that third drink, that's like I could have a really big meal, or I could have three ice cream cones, or
yeah.
something else,
But he
and
says he
I'd
says in
rather
the
eat
book,
the food calories than the drink calories. And
yeah,
I've never had a gambling addiction, because
no, me neither.
anytime that I've gone to a casino, I guess I've never really won, and I'm not willing to spend more than
No,
20 bucks, because it's like, well, that's that $20 I could have,
yeah,
I could have bought something with that. I could have bought, I could
yeah,
have bought a new shirt, or I could have gone to the movies or something. There's other
yeah,
things that I could do
yeah,
with $20, and you can lose $20. It doesn't take very long. it doesn't take very long at all in
No,
the casino.
it
You can't even play
does
for an
not.
hour on $20. You lose $20 pretty
Mhm.
quick. And once that $20 is gone, I'm like, whoop, okay, I'm done.
But
That
now if
I've
the lights
done
went
it.
on, and you won 20,000, I mean, you'd be like,
Right,
woo, you
right.
know?
Exactly. So
Yeah,
if my first time at a casino, I would have won
yeah,
20,000. I'd be wanting to get that hit again, or I would know in my
yeah.
mind that I could win, even though I'd be throwing more money away and losing.
Mm.
So
Ah,
those aren't
I'd want to
addictions.
take it and run. I'd be like, give me my money,
Yeah,
let me out of here.
yeah. But
So,
food
but
addiction,
yeah,
I've always had. It's a it's a
I
struggle.
didn't understand the part that was in the book about when a person's eating the sugary stuff and
Mhm.
they're eating it super fast because they want to savor it, they want to eat it, and they don't enjoy it. It didn't make sense to me. Because you're feeding the
Yeah.
monster really fast. So you're
That's
gobbling this all up.
actually, um
And I'm like, I know,
didn't do that. I didn't do that. But there may be some people that do, I've not,
unless you're eating the whole cake or I
well,
don't know.
there's some people who have binge eating disorder. And so I think maybe that's
Oh,
more
maybe
if you
that's what
were
it
more
was.
with that and you're eating
Okay.
a whole
That would
bunch
make sense.
and you've got to do it quickly. I've not
Okay.
had that per se. Um,
Okay, that
Because
would
I
make
try
sense
to
then.
slow down to savor. But what I have had that Alan Carr mentions in here is when eating something like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a snack. While I'm eating it, I'm also thinking about when's my next meal going to come, or what am I going to when I'm done with this later. What's going to be my next thing that I'm going to have? And
Hmm.
which is silly. And now that Mounjaro has helped me with that.
Mhm.
It's just been so incredibly helpful because now I don't, I eat I eat when I'm hungry,
Mhm.
and I still get hungry. I still get hungry, but it's okay. It's natural hunger because it's time. I haven't had enough calories today. It's time to eat, lunch or
Mhm.
dinner. Or, I'm more of a
Mhm.
late breakfast person now instead of when I first wake up in the morning. But I'm not worried about when my next meal is going to be. I'm not worried about when my next snack is going to be. I just know I'm hungry right now. And so I'm going to try to find, and the books really help me to think about what I'm going to put in my mouth. Is this something that's going to feed my body nutritionally? Or is this
Mhm.
something that's just going to feed my fat? And that's really helped me. That's helped
Okay.
me the most with
Yep.
this book. Am I feeding my body? Am I fueling my body? Or am I fueling
Mhm.
my fat? And
See, now
so,
you brought up that, and now I remember too, like you were saying, okay, so when people will eat and they overeat, I would have a cigarette and I put it out, and sometimes I'd light up another one, and I'd be like, why am I doing this? But I'd smoke it anyways.
mhm,
So there, that kind of goes on it too. And then I'd be like trying to figure out how many more cigarettes do I have in my pack? And then I would have to figure out, okay, like I have 5 cigarettes left and it's what time is it right now? Do I have to go to the
mhm,
store to get another pack? Because I'm not going to have any for tomorrow morning. And I don't want to be getting up in the morning and having to go to the store to get a pack of cigarettes. So I got to
mhm.
go to the store and get them now. Yeah. So it does kind of go hand in hand, the food and
Exactly.
any kind of addiction here. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that made me remember that. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Now, I think Jeff has a thought here because he came
You
to
have a
join
thought?
us. What are
That's
some
the
of
other
your thoughts?
guy from the other room.
Yeah.
Jedi Jeff.
Jedi Jeff, that's right. So what are you
Well,
thinking?
first I was listening to you guys talk, and I thought, gee, I haven't had lunch today. I need to get something to eat. That's going to look bad if I walk back behind you guys and I just make myself lunch, but I need to do that in a
Oh,
minute.
funny.
But
Are you feeding the
about
monster?
no, No,
No,
but
he needs to fuel his body. He's been working in the van all day trying to get it all
Okay.
ready and prepared
Yeah.
for our next trip. So
but
he's
I listened to
fixing
what you
stuff.
said, Robin, about the first experience that you have with some sort of addictive substance, and it reminded me when I was in college. One of the things I liked to do was just go to the library in the college, and if there was a pile of books sitting there that someone else was, that they didn't put away after they were doing their studying or something like that, they were doing some research or something. It's like, oh, I wonder if I could figure out what they were studying, and I would sit down. Well, I remember one day I saw this pile of books and I sat down and it talked about this one experiment that a scientist had done. And it was based on the premise, well, I won't give it away yet,
Okay.
but by default, cats don't like bananas. Did you know that?
Cats
They
don't like
They
bananas?
they won't normally eat bananas on their own.
Okay.
This scientist said, okay, well, you know what? If we put electrodes, and they're humane, I'm sure. I don't know when the study was done, but they did electrodes to be able to stimulate the pleasure center of the brain of these cats. And
Okay.
so the cat would get a little, walk by the bananas and it would get like a little jolt of, oh, or then get closer to the bananas and they get it, oh. And then they start like licking the banana to find out what is this like. And then finally they would be able to get the cat, even though it wasn't a food that cats normally would like, that it would eat bananas.
Huh.
And but that wasn't the whole experiment. The whole experiment was this cat had kittens.
Oh,
And the cat would go over to the bananas and start eating bananas. And the kitten would come over and sniff at it, but then look at the mom and like, oh, okay, I guess we eat bananas, huh? And it would, well, they don't know what the cat was thinking, obviously, but it was like their first experience. They called it the primacy effect because what happened was the kitten's first experience with bananas was a good one. And then when that kitten grew up to be a cat, passed that on to their kids too. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
I know.
So then a whole bunch of cats would start liking bananas.
So if you see cats eating bananas, no, that's not the point. But the primacy effect was saying something to the effect of that your first experience with a food or something like that is influences how you're going to pass that along and even make it part of cat culture or whatever, that you pass along to your kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to go make
that makes sense. I know they don't like pickles. I guess if you put one down, they freak out. I don't know why, but
the shape reminds them of like instinctively a snake, like a mortal enemy.
I don't know. It must be something because there's videos of it shows the cats, they just spring straight up like
zucchini squash even too. I think it would
I don't know. It's just pickles on there. So I was like, okay. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, that was what we learned at Hazelden and it was interesting. I was, it really brought that to my mind, too. And it's also like an alcoholic too. If they have a good experience and depending upon how old they are, that's when the brain stops and they go through life. And that is the age you're dealing with when you hook up with an alcoholic. So for me, my second marriage, I was dealing with somebody who was 13. And so you can imagine how fun that one was.
Yeah.
So that lasted 7 months and I was done. So,
wow.
But it's crazy, but it made sense to me at the time. So
now,
each experience, you just got to learn from it all. I gotta get it right.
Now, you listened to the entire book this week from beginning to end about the emotional eating.
Yeah.
Can you give us some of your big takeaways from the emotional eating book versus the stop smoking book when you listen to the entire book just this week?
Well, I mean, it brought back it brought back a lot of my thinking of the food versus the smoking. I think I kind of already talked mostly about it. I guess you'd have to be more specific for me because I
Okay.
babbled a lot in the beginning.
Oh, you did such a good job, though. Such a good job, Robin. Um, so you see the correlations between the stop smoking and the stop eating junk food, or
um,
eating for emotions versus eating because you need to fuel your body because right now your body needs nutrition.
yeah, I mean, that's where it's like it was hard for me because I'm not an emotional eater.
Mhm.
So I got it, but it's like for me, like I said, I instead of food, I fed it
Mhm.
nicotine. So it's kind of the flippy flop, and the monster was, the guilt trips and stuff that you would get. So that's where my takeaways were okay, that makes sense. It's making me realize what food is to people because I never could understand how does food comfort somebody. How do you feel love and a big hug from food? It didn't click. And I was like, I would eat not to get comfort. I would eat because I liked the food or because I was hungry. So
Yeah.
but now as I'm older, and it's, like it's going to be 30 below wind chill here in Minnesota. And let's hypothetically say, I had made some lasagna. Um, well, yeah, I'll go down and get a nice bowl of that and cook it up. And here I'm going to sit in front of my TV and I'm going to eat my lasagna. Okay, I get it. That's the comfort. Now I do, but I didn't back then.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't eat it like the whole pan. I would only eat it until I'm full and then I'm done. I wouldn't want any more. So the part of eating until the whole pan is gone, I don't. And then you're miserable. I could never do that. So I
Yeah. I don't
couldn't,
know.
I couldn't,
Yeah.
that didn't click with me.
And not everyone would eat the whole pan, but you would eat and you'd be full, and then you'd still eat 2 or 3 more bites because it was so good you didn't
Yeah,
wanna
this
stop.
said you kept eating till you get sick. And I'm like,
Well,
I would never
not
eat
always,
till I'm
not always.
sick.
Because remember, I I give you the opportunity
Not
emotionally to
purposely.
a lot of different things. But I wouldn't eat until sick per se.
I
Uh,
mean, I have
I
eaten
would
really,
eat an
really super
extra.
fast, and then I'm
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, yeah. If I
I've
suppose if
done
you have a
that.
binge eating disorder, or I
Yeah,
don't
that
think
must
I've
be
ever
what it
really had
was.
binge eating disorder, but I definitely think about food too much. Um, when I'm
Yeah.
having any of those feelings like sad, mad, glad, celebrating stress, procrastination, all those different things that you talked about in the beginning
Mhm.
about would lead you to have a cigarette first.
Yep.
Uh, it would lead me to go to the refrigerator, maybe eat a little something first, you know, and
Okay.
some foods would be more comfort foods than other foods. Like this is a recipe my grandma used to make, or my mom used to make, or whatever. And we would attach love feelings to that too.
Yeah,
And trying
see.
to love yourself
Okay.
with food.
Or the mom and
Mhm.
cat gave you.
Oh yeah, or that your mama cat gave you, like the bananas for the kids.
The bananas.
Yeah,
Banana
yeah,
banana cream pie or yeah, so
yeah.
okay, yeah, I guess well, okay, I read a book, another book that's really good now since I'm a singer, Karen
Hmm.
Carpenter. She's
Hmm.
always my favorite. And she was anorexic bulimia.
Right.
And so this book I read was called Little Girl Blue, I think it was called. Excellent book if anybody's into Karen Carpenter. Oof, that book
Yeah, I love
was
Karen Carpenter's
that
music.
book will make you cry, let me tell you. Um, yeah, Little Girl Blue it's called. And this guy wrote it because he wanted to really show what she went through. And Richard, her brother, is very protective of the family. So it's very hard to write a book about her because, of copyrights and because of rights and this and that.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's very protective. So he actually got a lot of his interviews and stuff through friends that knew her personally.
Okay.
And he really talks about her food addiction and stuff and what she went through. So it really kind of clicked with me a little bit because the shaming, the
Hmm.
critic that I don't know who it was said she looked chubby, that stuck in her head. And from
Oh,
then on, she had an issue. Um, if you watch a lot of her videos when she was younger, she did a lot of her performances singing behind a drum set. As she got older and they got more popular, they didn't want her behind there anymore. They wanted to put her in the front. She's
okay.
not a front man. She never was. She always wanted to hide behind, because I'm fat. I don't want to go out there
Oh.
in the public. And that made it worse for her. And so taking her drum set away, which was her crutch, this was her safety, and
Hmm.
putting her right there, that's where the eating disorder on her really came along. Did you see a pickle or something?
Oh, yeah. He
I
broke
dropped the
something.
jam onto the plate.
Uh-oh.
Broke a plate.
Well, it's
Oop.
not a mirror, so that's good. We're not
There
going
you
to have
go.
7 years.
Oh, no 7 years bad
But
luck.
yeah, so and of course some other things. I won't say too much about it because in case somebody wants to read the book, I don't want to ruin it. But if you get a chance, that's a good book to read that kind of explains the bulimia and everything that she went through and her emotional problems that went along with everything. It was really probably the best kind of biography I think I've ever read about her. So, but it was very sad. It's a very emotional book, and I don't know about Richard's thoughts on it if he liked it or not. But I never heard any criticism or anything. But um, yeah, I that's the part that I don't get is the food and the relationship with the food and stuff. I can relate to the smoking better,
Mhm.
but the smoking book, and there was a lot of similarities again with the monsters and and all that, and the shaming, the food shaming or the cigarette shaming. I mean, because
Yeah.
we felt like animals outside. They would put us, oh yeah, you got to go smoke outside in the designated area. It's like, oh, let's go to the cage, like a bunch of packed animals in there, and but I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. But
Me
back
too.
then that is what we did. And hide it, you'd have to hide it. And I'm sure food's the same way. I mean, there's people that I think I read that throw up and they put them in bags and then tied them and put them in the closet and
Oh
just
my.
bags upon bags upon bags. I don't remember if that was Karen
Not done
Carpenter or
that.
not.
Yeah,
I
I've not
don't know.
done that. I never dealt
Oof.
with bulimia, but I did
Oh,
mention in
yeah.
my Mounjaro Monday for week number 57, my thoughts about intermittent fasting, that I have different concerns about it. I do a little bit.
Yeah.
I do I give my body a 12-hour break. So if I
Okay.
ate my last bite of food at 7 o'clock at night, then I won't eat before 7 in the morning. So at least gives my body, 12 hours that it doesn't have to worry about digestion and the rest of that, and give my body a
Yep.
little bit of a break. But there was a couple of times in my life when I was younger and still lived at home. Once the summer between 8th grade and high school, and then another summer, one of my summers in high school, where I didn't eat hardly anything, and I was trying to lose
Yep.
weight, but I was also very sad at the time for a different reason each time. And
Mhm.
what brought me joy was stepping on the scale and being a pound lighter. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden it was to where I wasn't eating more than 3 bites of cottage cheese and Tab. Drinking
Right.
a Tab, which is like a Diet Coke. It was the first Diet Coke ever was Tab. And then I'd ride my bike all over town. And then every day I'd step on the scale, it'd be like a pound lighter and a pound lighter. And then all of a sudden I couldn't eat if I wanted to, where I'd want to eat something, but it was weird. But I never, and fortunately, both times, then school started again, and I made new friends or whatever, and I was fine. But
Mhm.
but I really feel for people who, like Karen Carpenter, that didn't get out of it, and
Yeah.
because it'll kill you, and it's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Are-
They didn't know enough about it back then. So it was
Right,
all too new for them.
right. Now
But
you have some. You gave me some pictures,
I did.
and we could share your photo album real quick, and then we're going to read the questions
Okay.
and comments that people have been putting in the
And
chat.
they gotta realize I was always thin up until I quit smoking. That's when I kind of started going up. And then so I was always 122 until I got pregnant with my daughter. And then
No,
that was when the struggle kind of came on
yes.
after I quit smoking, I think, because then the stress comes on, life. Yeah, that's my refrigerator picture. That's the one that I always say, if I could get back to this, because I think I looked good at 135 pounds.
Yeah,
Um,
you look amazing in that photo.
that's the
You look
one that
gorgeous.
that was a good time for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I weigh, how did I say that? I think, well, I was 161 and a half when I had my daughter, when I was pregnant. Then when I had her, I was able to get back down to, I think it was 135. I think this was after I had my daughter. Yeah. So that was a good weight for me. 122 is a little bit skinny.
Yeah.
And that's me right now. That was just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it's not the greatest
Yeah.
picture of
And
me,
then,
but
but
I'm
if,
in a pair of jeans.
but you've lost how many pounds so far on Manjaro?
I would
I found.
say it's
Let's say that
51 pounds now, I think.
you're 51 pounds this
I was
year.
130 when I started in March, and now I'm at 177. And that was
Okay.
New Year's. That was New Year's, so I think I was in the 80s, 180, somewhere in there. 84, 81. I kind of jumped back and forth. Yeah. And of course, this picture, yeah, I was pretty heavy here, and you can see it in my face. I think I gain it through my cheeks and my boobs and my arms. So it kind of evenly distributed, I guess. But and there you can really see it in my face. That was just last summer.
Okay. And yeah, so
So
yeah. So you can tell a difference being 51
yeah,
pounds.
when you look at it, yeah, and there you go, right there. It's like it's amazing. Yeah, I was 130 or 230, 130. 230 over there. And this one was, I think I was still in the 180s there.
Okay.
But yeah, and there's all my times I was singing. And that's Mr. Jimmy Page, if anybody knows Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
That was a
Oh,
chance.
cool. You got to meet Led Zeppelin.
That was
That
a
is so
chance
cool.
that kind of happened. Yeah, that was, how do you say, lucky.
Yeah.
Just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And yeah, he actually has white hair now. A lot of people probably go, "Who is this?" But if you know
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, well, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page,
Yeah.
And there you can see my 28-inch waist that I had. Ah,
Oh, when you were in
but
the band at
yeah,
23. Oh my goodness.
yeah. Isn't that something? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy just to think about all that. There I am. Yeah, Florida. I was all legs, just skinny mini.
Yeah.
But that's how we are though when we're younger. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
All right. Well, let's see
yeah.
what our buddies have to say. Maybe it'd be easier
Okay,
to read this
we're
stuff
done
if I
rambling
do
on here.
this. And we got Mindy in the house. Woo woo! Hey, Mindy and
And
Sandra.
Sandra.
I only got 1/3 into the chapter today. Oh, so you didn't get a chance to finish. But it's a short one,
Yep.
Sandra. I think there's only like five pages or so. You're be getting close.
Yeah.
And Claudia, wow, she's in
Oh, Hawaii.
Hawaii. And
Oh,
it's her
wow.
birthday Sunday. Happy birthday. She
Oh,
says,
happy birthday.
oh my
That's
goodness. And
awesome.
she's still on chapter 17, so she's getting close. This chapter
Yeah.
18 is the final feast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah. And hey, and Claudia broke a stall this past week. Woo woo! Congratulations, Claudia. Yay. We love it when people
Oh,
share
this
their
weight's
wins.
hard. It's especially
It
when you
is
get older too,
hard.
to get it off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
not
imagine
easy.
going through this my whole life. I can't imagine. It would have to be quite a struggle for people.
Oh yeah, it really is. Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, we got
There's
Pammy in
Pam.
the house.
Happy
Wishing us a
Sunday.
happy Sunday. Saying hi to Robin. And oh yeah, and then
Yeah.
yep, about the fan and your mic. And Cindy, Taz the Bulldog's mom's in the house, and she says, "Oh, y'all look great. Love you all." Oh, thanks, Cindy. And Cindy might be
How
a
do you do
future
that? Right.
guest for me. So we're thinking about having her on a Mounjaro Monday
You
live.
gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Yeah. And Pammy says one of my coworkers wore a latex glove when she'd go outside to smoke, or he
So
would go
she wouldn't
outside.
have to smell and didn't get her nails yellow, fingers yellow.
Mhm.
That was the other thing. Yeah. Ugh. Can always tell a smoker by their nails.
Ah, good to know. And Cindy
Hmm.
says, my mom quit when she was
Yeah, fourth
EX
stage
with
cancer.
when she was diagnosed with 4th stage lung
You see,
cancer.
it's such a strong addiction that people like I watched my grandmother pass away from lung cancer when she was 63. I sat at her bedside, held her hand, watched her take her last breath, whole 9 yards. And what did I do? That's when I started smoking. So it's such a
Oh no.
strong addiction that, even people that are on oxygen tanks that have holes in their throat, they continue to smoke because it's so hard. And it's one heck of an addiction. And
It
again, most of it is because of the fear. They're afraid to quit it. And if you just knew that it's really not that bad on the other side,
Mhm. You just got to get
that there
through it
is life.
and
Yes, there is.
starve that little
Yes,
monster to death, and then you're good to go.
there
Yeah,
is life without cigarettes. There is life without this addiction. Yeah. So you can have fun. You don't have to be boring.
that's right. And Pammy also says, this is so incredible, and I've seen it so hard,
It
especially because
is.
I know how hard it's been to not have junk food. But it's like a switch flips, and you decide to do it. Yeah.
Well, I remember watching my mom smoke, and I used to think, oh, it looks so cool. And so I remember taking the cigarette, going in the bathroom, and I sat there and I kept smoking and I kept smoking and I kept hacking and hacking. And I thought, I'm going to keep doing this till I don't cough anymore. And then I finally mastered it. And that's when I realized, uh-oh,
Yep.
now I'm addicted. And that's
Yep.
also in the book. He talks about something about how miserable you make yourself and into doing
That
it.
the
So,
addiction makes you miserable, and that you can
yeah.
have and you can be excited that you're going to have pure joy because you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to have the addiction anymore. And so when
Yeah.
Pammy says here, decide to do it, and it's your commitment. And so
Yeah.
you're killing the big monster first, the one
Mm-hmm.
that lies to you and brainwashes you into
Yeah.
thinking that you need this when you don't. When you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. You don't.
And
You
so
don't
when you
need it.
kill the big monster, then then you can take care of that little monster when he shows up for a little bit saying, have another smoke, or maybe one more donut
Yeah.
or whatever. And when you
Yeah.
don't need
That's
him, you
another
start
thing. They tell you,
have
I
this
don't know if it was in this book or not, but usually when you first quit, you have to give yourself a year because you're going to go through all these different holidays, which are going to come
Mhm,
up on you, and they're going to be stressful. And you have to learn how to handle these holidays without this addiction. And
mhm.
so give yourself at least a year, to see how you do. And if you do fall off the wagon, learn by it. What did I do? What made me go back? What do I want to avoid? What trigger was that? Mine was every 6 months. Um, I would do really good. And then whammo, for some reason I would light up. And this went on for well, in my 20s and my 30s until 40s. I nailed it. And it was the seasons. I figured it out. The seasons changing were my triggers. Fall
Wow.
and spring, it's every 6 months.
Hmm.
So that's where, and you have to go through people dying and stuff, family members dying.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to go through those stresses. You got to go through Christmas and the holidays and the eating there. And yeah, you got to give yourself at least a year.
Okay. And Pammy wants to know, Robin, what kind of music? My husband plays guitar and started with rock, but he
Okay.
also is okay with country
Okay.
because it was harder for them to get gigs for rock. And you
Okay.
do remind me of a rock singer, Lita Ford.
Lita Ford. That's pretty good. When my hair was longer, I was Stevie Nicks.
Ah,
We did classic rock pretty much. I did a little Shania Twain here and there. And you just kind of want to do a variety because when you would go out and play, everybody has their own thing, but mainly it was the classic rock and roll. So
yeah, cool.
fun times, fun times.
Yeah.
Of
And
course, now
Cindy,
you see it on TV and it's the old stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of
Well,
funny.
Cindy says you should be so proud of yourself. I think so
I,
too.
I'm very proud of myself. That was quite a milestone that I did with that quitting. I mean, I just never
Mhm.
really thought that I would do it, but I did. I was bound and determined. So, that's kind of me though.
Yeah. And Pam says, I think I have transference of addiction too, from food to shopping. Yeah,
Yeah,
because now you need
replace one
new
with another.
clothes. Yeah. And Pam
Yeah,
also was on one of my Mounjaro Monday lives, and Pam's lost
yeah,
over 160 pounds. So yeah,
yep.
she definitely is going to need to do a little
I
bit of
see
treatment.
her every once in a while going through the YouTube, I think it
Yeah,
is,
and she's got
and
her
she'll
own
be her
channel.
exercise. Come get
Yeah,
off that couch.
yeah, she's got a
Yeah.
lot of fun videos, so you should definitely check
Uh,
out Pam's YouTube channel.
yep.
And she's working right now on her new shopping addiction.
That's good. I
Yeah.
still I still want to get that
She says, Tammy,
deer
me
deer
too.
run treadmill. Hmm.
And Pammy says we have a lot of addictive
Yeah.
personalities in my family.
Although they
Both
say
parents
in the
are.
Carr's book there is no addictive personalities. He
That's
says
what he
no, there
says.
isn't.
That's
Yeah,
what he says.
that I
Yeah.
found was kind of interesting too.
I found that interesting as well because
Yeah.
I had mentioned it when we went over the chapter of there is no such thing as addictive personality. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
I always thought I had it. So I knew when I went to college, uh, I did drink in college. I didn't drink in high school, but I drank in college. But
Yeah.
as a girl in the 80s, you could get drugs for free because they would just offer it to
Oh
me.
yeah.
But I always said no. I never, not even one
Yeah.
time, because I was too afraid that if I did it once, I would be
Oh,
I would be screwed over.
I
I
no,
would
I
get
was afraid
addictive.
if
I
I
could
did
have an
anything,
addictive
I would
personality.
jump out the window thinking I could fly. No. I mean, I smoked a little marijuana here and there, but no. But I was too. I did have a friend whose brother, I don't know to this day what happened to him, but I think he got into some angel dust or something. But he did end up going out the window and he
Oh
landed
no.
on his head and broke his neck. Now I don't know if he was pushed out the window or if he fell out, was leaning, who knows? But see, that's what I was afraid of. I would want to fly out the window or something goofy, and no,
Yeah. Yeah. I
uh-uh.
just wouldn't because I'd be like, nope, nope, nope. I, I was just too afraid. I'm like, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna
No,
go there.
no,
And never did because I was just so worried about it. I'm like, I'm so addicted to cookies and those kind of things. I don't want to get
yeah,
addicted to something else.
yep.
But I think what he's trying to say, and Mindy says, Pammy, you might have a PJ shopping addiction.
Funny,
Because she has the cutest
funny.
pajamas. She does.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that is funny. But what
cute.
he lets you know though, which is good, is he says there's no such thing as an addictive personality. So if you can change that mindset of being worried
Yeah.
that you have one, you can walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And because it doesn't have to rule your life, that you can change your mindset and not have any addictions anymore. Whereas if you
Yeah.
truly had an addictive personality and it was your personality, that you'd be addicted until you die. But he's like, nope,
Yeah.
that's a mindset. You can get out of
And
that mindset.
that's usually
Is
how it
the
goes too.
is,
There either if you're a drug addict or alcoholic, it's two ways you're gonna end up. You're either gonna die from it or you're gonna quit. It's
yeah,
one or the other. You
yep.
really
But
have
you
much
can
more of a
quit.
choice.
You can do it.
Yeah.
And there are
Yeah.
alcoholics who quit and
Yep.
live a long life and don't ever go back. So
Yep.
it is possible.
Oh
It
yeah.
is possible. And Pammy says, haha, Mindy and Cindy, yes, about her PJ addiction. But I will say, I feel like I'd rather have a shoeing addiction than food. Yeah, having
Yeah,
to buy new
exactly.
shoes.
Or any other addiction, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
And
better one
Mindy
to
says,
have.
I'm recovering from BED, bed. When I was
And I
still doing it, I ate fast and a lot. Oh, okay. Binge
Mm.
eating disorder. I'm sorry, I've never seen it as BED. Sorry about that, Mindy. I was like, a bed addiction is like, oh, really sleepy? You want to take naps?
Yeah.
No. Now I understand. Binge eating disorder. And she's recovering from that. When I was still doing it, I ate fast and a lot. Thinking about it now, it's so weird, but it was an escape, like a drug. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. See,
And
that was
Mindy's
my way
down
then.
90, well, maybe even more now, but Mindy was on my show too. I got to have Mindy on
Mhm.
a Mounjaro Monday live, and Mindy's down
She's
91
the
pounds on Mounjaro.
marathon runner, right?
So proud.
She
Yeah.
runs the
And she does,
marathon.
yeah, she does runs and half marathons, and she does triathlons and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm so proud of her.
I
Tammy
wish
says,
I
I wish
was,
I was
yeah.
addicted to cleaning my house.
No kidding.
Yeah, Jeff wishes I'd get that addiction too, I bet.
Especially that one room you
Pay
kept
for
saying
him to
you
get
gotta
that
clean.
addiction.
Yeah, it's
Oh
funny.
my gosh, Pam, you crack me up. Uh,
Oh
I
yeah.
that
Mama Cass.
Mama Cass.
You know what's funny about that too is I went on Google and I don't know if this is right or true, but her height and weight was the same as mine. And I was looking at her. I mean, our bodies are different. Yes, I get it.
Mhm.
But I was like, holy cow. She looked a lot bigger than 130 pounds to me. And they said she was, I think, 5'5" or 5'6". And I was like, huh, okay. I don't know. I suppose if you put me in a dress like that, maybe it just made her look bigger. I don't know. But yeah, Google it and see how much she weighed and stuff.
Okay. And Pammy says, I know two friends with binge eating disorder, and they both
Wow.
snuck snuck around to do that. And
Oh,
Mindy says Karen Carpenter. Yeah, bless her heart.
yeah, she was my favorite. I mean, well, she still is. So
Oh yeah, and her Christmas music. Oh my gosh, she had the
yeah.
best Christmas songs.
And it's funny too, because I did have people say, "You sound like Karen Carpenter." And I was always like, wow, when I'd go croaky or whatever, I'm like, that's a compliment to me. I'll take it. But I could never sound like her. Her
Yeah.
voice was just heaven sent. She was beautiful.
Mm.
Go to fast food and binge eat, then throw away the
Throw away the
wrappers.
wrappers.
Really? Wow.
I thought
She did.
Karen Carpenter
She
had
did.
anorexia. Yeah.
She had anorexia, bulimia. She had both of them. And she had depression really bad. And she also was addicted to prescriptions, but that doesn't come out until later on. So,
Yeah.
like I said, you got to get the book and read it. It's quite
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Mindy said that
yeah.
she did that too with the fast food. And Pammy says, my mom was a big fan of Karen Carpenter and talked about Twiggy. She was
Yeah.
always concerned about her weight too. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mindy says, I can finally be honest about it, but eating in secret somehow made it more enjoyable. I guess because there was no judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Karen too. Her best friend was Olivia Newton-John, and I guess that's in her mind who she always molded in what she wanted to look like. That's why she would go into her starvation modes because she wanted her body.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Pammy wrote that gorgeous when we showed the picture of you in your yellow bikini. That was so cute.
Oh, oh, thank you. Yes, I think so.
So now her husband's checking it out because you were so cute in that yellow yellow bikini.
Oh, I wish I could have that again.
Yeah.
Someday
Pam, what was your
maybe,
band
but
name?
I'm not holding my breath at this point. I'm 60 now, so to get back into something like that, I don't know.
Yeah. What
But
was your band
it's
name?
it helps when you put it on the fridge and you go, do you really want to? So. But yeah, what was my band's name? Back in it was called Fully Loaded. um, there was a couple other names that they wanted it to be, and it was like, no, we're not going there. They were kind of not good ones, but yeah. But we thought that was, I don't know. I kept saying something about, I think we're all fully loaded or something, so it just stuck. But yeah, today is our daughter's 40th birthday when she
No,
was
today
29.
is our daughter's 40th birthday. When she was 29 at 285 and has maintained 150, 145 to 160 mostly. Wow, that's great. And she's
Mhm.
mostly 150. She's 5'6". She and her boyfriend rented a Mercedes travel van and are in Napa Valley. Oh, how
Oh,
fun.
that's cool. Wow.
Yeah. And so cool.
Mhm.
She's at a healthy weight now.
Yeah.
And Tammy says she
Well, yeah.
parachuted on her 35th birthday. Oh, how fun is that?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't. That one, I couldn't jump out of a plane. Not at this point. I mean, my grandpa was a stunt pilot, and I remember when I think I was like 4 or 5, and I actually do remember hanging upside down, dangling from my safety belt in the back seat of his Fairchild.
Hmm.
And yeah, he would fly and then he flip it upside down for a while and then he would nosedive. And oh, yeah, my mom was green in the gills when we got out. And he had the
Oof.
floaters, so we would land in the water, and stuff. So it was fun, but no, I
Wow.
could never jump out of a plane. I do like to fly though.
Yeah. And Cindy
She
owes me
owes
an
me an email.
email. Okay, yeah, because we're gonna get her on the show here at some point. It's gonna be so fun.
Yes. Yeah, because
And
then we can all be the Brady Bunch thing or the Hollywood
yeah,
Squares or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
Uh,
And Pam, thanks you, Robin. And
Yeah.
She said, sorry, she had gastric bypass in
Mm.
February of
Is that
2011.
Karen? Karen Carpenter had gas or that,
I
or
think
who?
maybe her daughter.
Oh,
Who
okay.
was,
Yeah,
um,
Karen.
yeah,
Okay.
it was went from
Oh, okay. I got
285
you.
and now she's between 145 and 160, mostly in the 150s. So
Okay.
very cool. All right. Well, we answered all the questions in the chat. Robin,
Okay.
thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
your thoughts. Hey, did you do a final feast?
Did I do a final feast? I gotta remember. Yeah, that was my 40th birthday. Gave my
Oh, no,
pack
no. With,
cigarettes
with
away.
the smoking was your final feast. But did you do a
Yeah.
final feast with food after reading the I know you haven't really identify as an emotional eater, just more
Yeah, no.
uh
No, I didn't. I don't know what my final feast would be. It would have to be something that I eat that I'm not supposed to eat. Is
yeah,
that
like
how it
yeah,
would
if
work?
there's something that's like something
Mm,
that doesn't food that you eat frequently that doesn't fuel your body, just fuels your fat.
I bet.
And then
Well,
you eat it for the last time and go,
I
"Oh,
was,
that's
We
it."
talked about that already with the donut.
I was,
That was
What's
I
like
that?
was gonna,
a pile
A
of
I
pile
grease.
was
of
gonna,
grease, the donuts.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say the bag of plums that I ate the other day.
Ah,
That I paid for.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't eat a bag of plums or you'll be visiting the toilet the next
Gosh.
day for a long time.
Or prunes.
See, that's just it, I mean, I've had to learn what to eat because for me to eat something that I think is good for you
Mhm.
um that's got like a gazillion million calories, but it what was it I ate just recently that oh well, okay, I thought that by putting a spoonful of what was it, coconut oil or whatever into my coffee was good, and I found out no, that's probably not good if you have cholesterol issues. um or what else was I there was something else I was eating that oh it was the agave syrup.
Agave syrup?
I got, yeah, and it had the spice of jalapeno in it, and I thought, because I like to drizzle a little bit of honey in my tea. And so I was doing a couple spoonfuls of that into my tea each day.
Uh-huh.
And my nutritionist said, that's basically corn syrup. That's not honey. I did not know that. And
Uh,
there was a lot of sugar in that. So, that's where I have to learn what foods are, and I got to learn, okay, well, this one's got this many calories in it. And
mhm.
and like Jeff, I like the app that you can just punch it in and it does
Fitness
everything
app,
for
yeah,
you, because then I
yeah.
can put it in before I eat it and then go, okay, what is it that's causing the sugar to go up, or or the saturated fat? And then I'll go back and I'll omit this one and then it'll go back down, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we don't want to be eating this one or too much of it. So I have to
Right,
learn all this. So yeah,
right.
I don't know of a food. I don't know of a food off the top of my head because I've gotten away from a lot of sugars now. I don't need them. I don't eat those anymore really. About the only
You're
thing,
already
like
doing pretty good.
if I like something, I have a tendency to eat too much of it, like
Okay.
plums
Yes. You ate a bag
or
of plums
dragon
and didn't
fruits.
realize that it had a laxative effect. And she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, these are good for you.
Well,
They're plums."
you would realize later.
Yeah, she did.
And then also I had bought those fig cookies thinking, well, I can have a couple of those. Yeah, so needless to say, if I needed a colonoscopy, it would have been a great thing. But so I don't know I guess my final feast was was my cigarette addiction. So for me, yeah, I don't
And she
have a food
remembers to
one.
the exact day, the
I
exact
do. Yeah.
exact
Yep.
day and year.
And it was
So
in the morning. It was in the morning. I was done. Yep.
okay.
It
All
was
right. Well,
history.
yep. Well, thank you so much, Robin,
Yeah.
and thank you everybody who's been watching today. If anyone would like to one day join us and be one of my special guests, let's do my banner here. You can contact me, Gina at anchormoments.com, and we'll find a time to have you share some of your stories too. So anyway, that's how you'll find me, is right there. All right, everybody, we have one more week on this book. Chapter 20 is next Sunday, and then and I will be putting I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I kind of find where I put the other book about the pill, the magic pill or something like that.
Did you look at this file?
Well, look and see. Did you see it? I didn't see it, because that was a book that was recommended by Barb, Health at Any Cost, the magic pill.
I got
And
that
then
one
Barb,
in my cart,
and
I guess. Yeah.
Barb, Health at Any Cost, also highly recommends salt, sugar, and fat
Yeah.
about
I want to read that one.
the food industry. It says here from the Washington Post, if you had any doubt as to the food industry's complicity in our obesity epidemic, it'll evaporate when you read this
Yeah.
book. And so
There's a lot of those. There's a Netflix too on food and stuff too. It's quite
So,
scary stuff. But
yeah.
yeah.
So it'll either be this book or the other book that Barb recommended that I have. So as soon as I can find it, I'll take a picture of both, and I'm going to put it on when you go to Anchor Moments, and you can click on posts next to like playlists, and then it says posts. It used to say community, but now they realize most people didn't know what a community tab was. Community, but it's posts, where it's not a video, it's a picture and some words or whatever text. And so I'll put the post there, and I'll put the poll so you guys can vote either salt, sugar, fat, or I think it's called the Magic Pill by Johari. But both of these are also the titles of them and everything are also where. Oh, I hate that banner.
Look at you. You're getting good at this.
Here we go. You can find them on all of my favorite things. Jeff and I's favorite things are Amazon.com shop Anchor Moments, and it's in that book list as well. So it's going to be one of those two books, and we'll be starting that in 2 weeks because we just have one chapter left of this one. And every now and again, I might do a quick video and give you an update if I had the final feast and if it's worked, and where I'm at with that.
And I think you're there already. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Like I said, I haven't had a donut in a year since I've been on Mounjaro. I don't think I've had
because
a donut.
you're not trapped. You know what's in it. You know why. So that's where you are. You're already there. You just haven't quite hasn't clicked with you yet.
Totally, but I have stopped some things like chips.
Yeah,
exactly. Crisps. They're not my thing anymore.
And I don't hear you talk all that much about ice cream either. You found a way to make it so that it's good for you. And so again, you are not trapped. You're freedom.
No. And
you're free from it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I love creating healthy ice creams that I can have that are high in protein and high in nutrition. And they're delicious. They're delicious.
But now that big monster is shrinking down, because of the things that you're doing and you're learning. So you are breaking free. You just have to realize it, and you got to allow yourself to say, I'm not trapped. I see this for what it is. I get it. I think that's where you're at. You're just not quite understanding that you are there. You have unveiled it. You've unveiled, and don't forget to thumbs up her site so she gets more viewing things.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yep, likes and
Yeah.
subscribes really do make a difference for the channel. So thank you
Yes,
so much.
it does. I usually always do it, but I'm not here right now, so I can't find it. But yeah, I do. I think you're there already. You know, you both have done really good. So
Well,
I can
thank
see
you.
it in Jeff and I can see it in you, especially when you go back and you look at some of your pictures, you know,
Oh
from some
yeah,
of your
there's
later videos and stuff. You
mhm.
can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So,
48 pounds less than I was when I
yeah.
started my Anchor Moments YouTube channel 4
Yeah.
years,
See,
yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. So November of
see,
2019 is when I started it. So yeah,
and you went on vacation and you lost a pound. You didn't even gain anything. So, yeah,
yeah. I
you've
hope it'll
broken
be the
free.
same with our next thing. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna go to at some point here. I'm going to Orlando, and I'm gonna be able to see
Mhm.
Barb Health at Any Cost in person, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. So
Ah,
maybe she'll let me do another video with her again when we go to Orlando.
oh,
But yeah,
that'll be so much fun.
I'm gonna work really hard again to not gain weight on vacation and try to maintain or at least lose a pound or two again, like I did last
Yeah.
time. That would be that would be fun. Well, we got to let everybody go, Robin. Uh,
Okay.
uh, thank you so much for
Oh, thank
sharing your
you.
stories with us. And
Yeah.
everybody, hold on to your anchor moments and have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.